Lively Game of the Day. Chloe Box versus Sliicer. Grim versus Jake.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Semi-original guy, aka Mr. Cannon from Advanced Wars by Web, bringing you another lively game of the day. Today, we are on the Sandworm's Hunger. This is a triple base airport and comm tower supported matchup with plenty of properties in the middle of the map, folks, for all your building wonders. This should be a good one, folks. Now, this is featuring a Sliicer and Chloe Box. Chloe Box is actually somebody I haven't seen in the live league for quite some time. It looks like she has made a reappearance here. And Sliicer, been seeing a lot of Sliicer lately, so I think we're going to have a good one here today, folks. Now, as we can see here, we have a Grim versus Jake matchup. So Grim, being the wild child of the tier 4 variety, has that increased firepower and lower defense. Should be a very interesting matchup between Chloe Box and Sliicer here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what went down in the live league today. On the first few days, folks, you all know the deal. We have the standard infantry builds because you got to get the infantry on the field. It is the #1 priority in Advanced Wars by Web. #2 priority in Advanced Wars by Web is make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for all that hot live league action, folks. #3 priority in Advanced Wars by Web is always go for those neutral bases, folks, so you can get that unit count up as quickly as possible. Unit count is incredibly important in Advanced Wars. The more units you have, the more chaos you can cause, folks. So get the units on the field. There we go. All right, neither player is making a play for the airport yet. I think the airport is very important in this map, but it's not necessarily important to get right away. But the sooner you can get it, the better. And for a CO such as Grim, it is actually more important to get the airport than, let's say, other COs necessarily, because Grim, one of his main aspects is that he has low defense, so his copters are usually very good. Now, copters defense is already very, very low. They never get any terrain star bonuses, so they completely depend on offensive ability, folks. So the more offense you have, the better it is. And against a CO like Jake, it can actually be very effective as well, because those air units from Jake do not get a movement bonus from his super co-power. That is only land units, folks. Infantry excluded. Now, both players are rushing properties now. It looks like Chloe Box is making a play for one of the contested properties in the center here. It looks like Sliicer does have potential for an interrupt. However, if that interrupt goes through, then we are face to face with a tank strike and a tank chain strike over here, folks. Chloe Box is also acquired the airport. Looks like Sliicer is going to be acquiring the airport this turn. Goes for the interrupt with absolutely no backup to that unit. Very interesting attack that more than likely will result in the first strike from Grim. And when you are Grim, you want to be getting that first strike, folks. And it looks like he has an available first strike from either the city or the forest. Now, obviously, the city would be the optimum terrain to take the engagement from. However, the forest is definitely an option in this case. But Chloe Box retreats the infantry, goes and takes a strike on the tank. That is an 8-5 trade, folks. Not too shabby at all. Now, Grim on a tank or on a city, his defense is that of a normal unit on a plane. So this is not really that bad of an engagement indeed. 8-5, fantastic trade over here for Chloe. Could have went much worse, all things considered. Now, Sliicer going and retreating that tank, busting out 2 more tanks, and now bringing a tank over to the western front here in order to ward off those infantry attacks as Sliicer goes in for a property which could potentially be interrupted by Chloe Box. All right, Chloe Bridging the gap of income here is now sitting at 14,000 per turn, destroys an infantry blocking the tank, and then goes for a strike. This will result in a tank strike here, folks. And considering the fact that Chloe Box's tank is sitting at 8 HP, there is a very good possibility that a tank plus infantry strike may be able to clear that tank. So it could be an even game here when it comes to the tanks. But aside from that, there's one more tank, 2 more infantry on the field. And now an infantry has been cleared over here on the western front. And this guy is definitely under some pressure here. The HQ is definitely under some pressure too, but considering that we have a tank right here from Sliicer, definitely going to be going on the city, taking an engagement against one of these 2 infantry. More than likely, that is what's going to be happening here. Or, alternatively, could actually go up and take the interrupt right here, but that would be a pretty... that would be a very costly attack, folks, because what could potentially happen is if Sliicer goes up and takes that engagement, could potentially get a full surround with the infantry here, bring a tank over here in order to get a first strike, which could end up being bad. Would it necessarily work out? It might. It might not. Probably would not. Depends on where this infantry goes. If this infantry goes over here to guard the city, then a full surround could potentially happen. So we'll see what actually happens in this match. Alright, just going to allow the capture to go through. I think that is definitely a safe engagement. Ooh, I feel like maybe attacking from the city would have been a better option here. That is going to allow for a Grim first strike on 0-star terrain, which is going to be very, very interesting. But with the tank build right there and the secondary tank coming in, I do not believe that Chloe Box is going to go in for that engagement. That is definitely a net negative trade there. Does not want to be going in for that. I have a feeling, oh my god, and she goes in for it, folks. The Brawl Master is here to do battle. Grim taking the engagement, taking the tank all the way down to 2. I would not have even thought it would have been possible to go in for that attack, but seems like it is, folks. So let's see what she decides to do with the rest of her turn here. Clears another infantry and then builds the first battlecopter of the game, folks. As stated before, battlecopters from Grim are incredibly strong, so let's see what she manages to do with this one. Alright, eliminates an infantry, goes in for a capture, takes the engagement against the tank, clears the tank, and now has a 2 HP tank left over, still in good shape, and takes multiple engagements over on the western frontier. Things are looking positive for Sliicer. Now, considering the entire state of the map right now, there is a tank over here to come assist in this side of the battle, but whether or not it'll be there in time to deal with Jake is another story. Over here, we have 2 tanks versus 2 tanks and a third and a battlecopter on the way. So battlecopter is going to be in response to, or not battlecopter, anti-air is in response to the battlecopter. So yeah, we should have some pretty interesting stuff happening here. Chloe sacrificing the infantry in order to slow down the capture game of Sliicer over in the corner, as Chloe Box is actually at 17,000 properties, 2 Slicers, 15,000. So things are looking up Chloe at the moment. Sliicer not really going to be able to get any effective caps this turn. Every single time he goes for a cap in the center here, it is interrupted by the Grim infantry, these marvelous penguin soldiers here. Tank out of range of another, ooh, could actually go in for a tank strike, but that would result in a battlecopter attack right afterwards. Plus, Chloe's going to be threatening the co-power, folks. That will boost Grim's overall offense to, 150% for all units. Plus, with the comm tower, that's 160%, so that is a pretty devastating attack indeed. 2 more tanks on the field and an infantry. We are getting dangerously close to Block Rock territory. Also, folks, I will increase the movement range of these direct combat ground units by +2, which could definitely catch Chloe Box off guard here if she's not careful. Goes in for the double attack on the infantry, busts out the Knuckle Duster. What available attacks are there for this Knuckle Duster, though? There's no available attack there. There is a battlecopter hit over here. There's a tank clear for sure. Let's see what she manages to do with this one. Going for the infantry clear, battle copter taking out the tank, sacrificing a battle copter for that tank hit. That's actually not really too bad of an attack. So yes, you lose the battle copter in the trade, but you take out 2 tanks for that. And there's no potential super co-power this turn. Even if there was, these tanks are not in range. Very marvelous attack. Now this one would be in range if we managed to get a super co-power this turn, but there's not really any available attacks. Maybe the battle copter, or maybe the anti-air taking out the battle copter might get us pretty close. Would require a tank sacrifice or something, but even if that was the case, I don't really know if there's necessarily too much follow-up after an attack like that. Let's see what Sliicer decides to do here. Sitting at 19 units to 24. Battle copter takes the engagement. And it looks like we are going to play defensively this turn. Okay, we are going to use the absolutely menacing threat of Block Rock to push Grim back, folks. This is one of the ways how you can deal with a Grim. You can threaten using Block Rock. You can threaten using those additional movement power attacks. But Chloe Box does not care. Chloe Box is going in for these attacks and just laying down the beatdown to the beatdown master here. Now multiple more infantry moving in the western side. Can't really push up too far. Going for a capture now in the center. Another capture. If these 2 captures go through, this is going to be a 19 to 15,000 battle. Not where you want to be in standard, folks. When you're dealing with low funds, you do not want to be 4,000 behind. Now if you can get to the threshold where you can buy valuable units and still have like infantry, so if you get to the point where you can buy a battle copter for 9,000, buy your tank for 7,000, that is 16,000 right there, plus 2 infantry, 17, 18. If you can have 18,000 funds, then you're in a pretty good spot. But 15,000, not really much you can do there. You can buy 2 tanks and an infantry, or you can buy anti-air, like artillery infantry. You could buy battle copter, triple infantry, but you can't do too much other than that. But you can pop Block Rock, folks. That's what you can do. Now, out of curiosity, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If Sliicer can clear one of these 2 tanks, which is definitely possible, he gets a battle copter strike. I think there's definitely some potential for this attack. Let's see what he manages to do with this. What can Sliicer spot? Going for the 7 HP, valuable hit right there. Leads up to the battle copter hit. Attacks an infantry. Oh, gets an attack from the planes. Very powerful attack. Another attack from the planes. And a double attack right there. Blocks the tank in so that it is not able to assist. Ooh, it is actually able to assist a little bit because there is an attack on the anti-air here for sure. But aside from that, ooh, this tank is in range of this tank. Ooh. Ouch. Okay. Maybe attacking from this tile was not necessarily the play because it does actually allow for 2 tank strikes plus this tank over here. So that is 3 tank strikes to follow up this attack. Maybe not the best move, but it did do some pretty flippin' massive damage to that tank. Not gonna lie. Very tempting attack for sure. Also 2 more tanks, and let's see how Chloe Box responds to this attack. Are they going to bust out the Knuckle Duster? Yes, they are, folks. You can bet your bottom dollar the Grim is going to be knuckle dusting all over your face if you're fighting. Now, let's see what he manages to do. Takes the engagement. Pretty sick engagement, not gonna lie. 10 out of 10 would engage again. Gets a massive luck roll here, folks. Look at the flippin' luck of this infantry. I know we are a knuckle dusted boosted Grim, but holy macaroni and cheese, that could have potentially been a full 15% luck roll right there. Now, even if that one did finish it off, this tank probably would have finished it off. So one way or another, tanks are going down, folks. Now this 8 HP tank could, it's gonna attack the anti-air. I mean, it's not gonna attack anything else. Ooh, is it gonna, no, it can't attack the tank. It's gonna attack anti-air because that's obviously the move that you would do in this situation. No other available moves. Going in for a cap in the middle and now attacking the infantry on the western front. Looks like Sliicer is going to be able to get a flip of her property, which is going to put him ahead 17-16 this turn. Let's see it happen, folks. Congratulations, Sliicer. Manages to get the property. Why did it go down? Because Chloe capped the property last turn. That is exactly what happened. All right, folks. 17-17 game. Now Sliicer managing to get 2 more attacks, bringing the anti-air back for some desperate heals. It is the only anti-air on the field against a flood of battlecopters that are on the way, folks. Bust out another one, and now we are gaming. Day 14. Grim. Bottom of the board. Gonna be threatening a capture over here. Clears an infantry over here in the center. Battlecopter taking the center position now. Could flip either way now, which is going to be pretty devastating. If the copter decides to go over here to the western front, there is no reinforcement. That would be forced to bring the anti-air over here, which could be a very dangerous position. Alright, Chloe Box finally giving up on the attack, taking the defensive position, taking the center of the map. Very nice. Chloe also now up to 18 properties, managed to get that property in the center, so they are once again ahead. But 17,000 funds per turn is a lot better than 15,000 funds per turn. Folks, I will tell you that hands down. Battlecopter is on the field from Sliicer now. Beautiful. Sliicer definitely behind in units here, 21 units, but it's definitely anybody's game. All it takes is for Grim to make one slip up, and you can absolutely demolish his forces due to that lower defense, folks. But with 2 battlecopters rushing the center and a full front switch over here from these units, this is definitely getting to be a very, very dire game, folks. Chloe Box now at 30 units. Sliicer retreating the tank, trading off infantry, going in and slamming the infantry, bringing 3 tanks plus the anti-air plus the battlecopter over to the western front now. Definitely has to be protecting that HQ. If you do not protect that HQ, folks, things are going to go very bad for you very, very soon. Now, I would say that this is probably at least a semi-exposed HQ on this map, no pun intended, but considering that there's only 1 base and airport here, and potential for a wall off, definitely a sort of contested, or sort of exposed. So you do have to really watch your HQs when you play these style of games here. This tank is way up here as well, folks. Sliicer is definitely getting a little bit frisky with that tank. He's going to have to definitely retreat it at this point because there's 2 tanks plus battlecopter plus tank. Yeah, gotta be pulling that back here pretty soon. Goes in and actually attacks with the battlecopter. Very flippin' interesting, folks. Bringing the anti-air into a position to guard the battlecopter. Oh, is it enough? Another battlecopter pushing up. Okay, this is not looking too shabby. No tank hits. No tank hits over here from Chloe. These guys are going to be able to immediately reinforce this. These guys are going to be able to immediately reinforce this. Chloe is going to have to play this turn very well or get completely demolished by these tanks over here. Does she go in and take the engagement against the battlecopter, losing it? Or does she pull back and take the middle? Let's find out, folks. Takes the engagement. Should get the clear with an infantry and be able to block it this turn as well. Alright, we are going full defense mode. Clears the infantry, attacks. Now we have a block on the tanks, folks. That is a beautiful block. These guys are locked in here. Locked in, not loaded, folks. So they cannot go anywhere or do anything of value at this moment. Alright, 2 tanks still sitting in the middle, able to flip to either front as needed. Another capture is going through here. Chloe Box is out of time though, folks. Was unable to purchase any units this turn. Could this be the edge the Sliicer needs to get ahead in this matchup? Let's find out together, folks, as one of the infantry are cleared, which now lets one of the tanks get through and do an engagement here. Takes the engagement, double taps the tank, exposing the battlecopter to the anti-air attack. Beautiful attack right there. definitely will need another battlecopter in the front lines here in order to ward against this one. My only fear right now is Knuckle Duster, folks. Knuckle Duster is the only thing that you have to fear at this moment. Could potentially be a very strong attack, but not really too many units available to do the attacks. Slicer's attack right here, very, very strong against Chloe Box. I wouldn't even be surprised if Chloe Box doesn't pop the Knuckle Duster, but they might. But they probably won't, because they get the engagements here anyways. Going for the flip. That flip is probably going to be going through now, folks, but this was a great front shift over here. If you're losing on one front, maybe it's time to attack on the other front, folks. Not too shabby of an attack. And because she base skipped last turn due to time restraints, one battlecopter, triple tank purchase. She had the money to get stinky, and she decided not to, folks. She decided to stay very, very true to this match. True to the Grim. And the Grim is all about overwhelming your opponents with multiple units and just laying the flippin' smackdown to them, folks. But Jake, like I said, he's the beatdown master. He's coming in here. He's interrupting the capture. He's further infantry over here so they cannot immediately capture the two properties right here. This tank would have been a very nice hit, but there's really just nothing to attack it at the moment. Busting out another tank. Block Rock is just along the way here, folks. It is coming very, very soon. Is Grim going to pop the co-power, or is he just going to attack the infantry? Going to be holding on to the power, folks. Holding on to the power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Interesting. There might be some potential for an attack here, folks. There could definitely be some potential. Slicer, he's got units available here. Whether or not enough of them are going to be around in order to be truly effective is another story, but we can definitely get some attacks here. Are we going to see the Block Rock this turn? Once again, the battlecopter staying out of range of the anti-air. Not popping the co-power, just going for the attacks. Very interesting indeed. That exposes a tank to a strike, though. Doesn't pop the co-power, just injures the tanks. This takes a lot of restraint, folks. You have a co-power, super co-power. You know it could do damage, but you don't pop it because you just know deep down in your heart that it's not the time to do it. This is something that makes the difference between a lower level player and like an intermediate to high level player. Knowing when to pop those co-powers for sure. Slicer is definitely a great player. So let's see what he manages to do here. Chloe Box coming in with the Haymaker, launching a massive right hand over here. Both anti-airs have been destroyed, but both battlecopters are exposed to battlecopter first strikes now. Things could get very dire very quick. Really just depends on what happens up north here now, folks. Tank going in for an engagement, anti-air finishing, tank going in for another engagement. That front is looking very, very not great now, folks. Definitely not doing too hot on that front. Alright, definitely going to be popping the super. 78,400 value. What can we get done with this move here? Clears the infantry, attacks another one, and then we go to the center of the map to attack a tank, eliminating 201 battlecopter. Almost got the second battlecopter as well. Eliminates another infantry, clears the tank in the middle, goes for a capture, anti-air, clear. Oh, first strike right there, and interrupts the capture. Very nice. Neither of those captures are going to be going through next turn. Not too shabby at all. See what Chloe Box does in response now. Does not manage to clear the tank right here. Sacks tank into this, sacks infantry into this, or sacks tank into this. I mean, in all reality, you might as well do that at this point, folks, because when you have a unit that is not going to be able to get away, you might as well just sacrifice it into your opponent to do some extra damage. The only time when I would say it's not worth it to do something like that is when you have an effective block that could severely slow down your opponent's pushes. So if you have a scenario like that, maybe not sacrificing the unit is the best thing, but if it has absolutely nothing else that it can do, sacrifice and do that damage, folks. Day 22, Sliicer pulling back the battlecopter, attacking with the other battlecopter, clears with the anti-air, eliminates infantry, gets the clear on this property. 17 to 19 is secured for one more day here, folks. Tanks are moving in. Got the clear on one of the tanks in the center, cleaning up the infantry on the eastern side, and now we have a nice, fairly even game once again here, folks. APC action-packed combat over here on day 22. Properties need to get flipped, folks. If they do not, Sliicer is not long for this world, unfortunately. Chloebox going for a flip on the side. This is going to make it so Sliicer will need 2 properties just to even the game, folks. Day 23. No potential interrupt on that property. Has to find another location where they can get a flip. They are pushing that HQ area hard. Now, is an HQ cap possible on this map? I did say earlier that they are semi-exposed, so it's maybe possible to get an HQ flip, but considering that the battlecopter or the airport is in direct range of the HQ, it would be very difficult. You would require some kind of protection there, maybe in the form of a fighter. Fighter could definitely be an effective blocker right here against battlecopters, but that's about it. You got a battlecopter there, and you can see an HQ cap coming from like a mile away. So if you're not building battlecopters when you know an HQ cap is coming, folks, well, then maybe you just deserve to get your HQ cap. But Sliicer, as I didn't mention this last turn, but they did build the classiest unit in Advanced by Web. The classy medium tank is on the field. You absolutely love to see it, folks. Get more medium tanks on the field. They are absolutely classy. Now, whether or not this medium tank at the moment is going to be the hero that we need is a completely other story, but I very much hope that this medium tank gets to have the meal that it deserves, folks. Let's see what he manages to do. Oh my god. Chloebox has busted through the lines and has done a base lock. The base is locked over here on day 24, folks. 2 battlecopters and a flipping classy boy of the sky is now available. Holy macaroni and cheese, folks. Holy flipping macaroni and cheese. Activates the beatdown. Goes in, sacrifices the tanks, gets a clear on one of the tanks. Another clear on the tank, but this bomber being right here is very dangerous. Going for a flip of a property now. That will be one of 2 flips that are required, but 25 days in, 5 days left. There's a flip on a property here and a flip on a property here. Chloebox, what are they going to do with this bomber, folks? There's actually super threat of a flipping HQ cap. 1 HP infantry going in for the cap. 20 days left, folks. Sliicer builds the missile. You can definitely tell that they have given up on the game at this moment. They are allowing Chloebox to have her fun, destroy some of Jake's units, builds a pipe runner, and that is all, folks. Day 26, end of the game. Sliicer has resigned. Chloebox is the winner of this match. What an amazing display of Grimmage, folks. You love to see some Grim. I love casting Grim. Grim is such a fun character to watch. Wild stuff, folks. Chloebox had great positioning, going in for those early attacks, doing massive damage, pulling back when needed. Just really handled the game very well. Sliicer played a fantastic game as well. Just, if you're not prepared for very good Grim, well, things can go very wrong for you. But hopefully you all enjoyed that one. If you did, consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. I will see you all in the next one. Take care of yourselves. And bye-bye for now.